Hello everyone! In this session we're going to learn all about the Snapshot Scheduler in the Hyper-Scale Manager 5.3 or HSM 5.3. Right now let's take a look at the actual pool inside the Hyper-Scale Manager. Let's expand this out. As you can see, this is the Exchange pool on a FlashSystem A9000. Now remember, this new feature is on the pool level. That means it's actually going to work on all the volumes and the consistency groups inside a given pool. Now we'll be able to modify if it's just volumes or consistency groups, but we're not able to select individual volumes or individual consistency groups. It's again applying to the entire pool. And if there's any problem, we're going to alert you in the tooltip section as well as on the dashboard. And in fact, we actually have some alerts right now. We'll go into them in just a second. Let's take a look at the pool right now. So as you can see, there's the pool, there's the system. I can expand it out. Now, that alert that I just mentioned to you is because some snapshots are deleted. In other words, they're missing. And they're really deleted because I killed them earlier before the demo. But we'll actually show this later on in this demo as well. So take a look. I click on the scheduler inside the inspector, and it will actually show my snapshot schedules. And here's all of the rules and the snapshots that I have defined for this particular policy. There's the tip again, just in case you forgot about the snapshot schedule will actually apply to all new and existing volumes. There's my name. And as you can see, the volumes and consistency groups are both applied, but I actually have a problem. And remember, we talked about the automated snapshots that I deleted just before I recorded this, but watch, we'll recreate them and you'll see them get taken care of just shortly. So in this time period, right now it's set for weekly, and as you can see, I've grabbed Tuesday, Saturday, Sunday, and Friday, as well as Thursday. I've actually selected a 2 a.m. window. Now if I want to actually retain these for a particular period, I can actually go by the number. So for example, I am going to retain 4 snapshots. And so by definition, if I'm taking 4 snapshots at 2 a.m. on those days, it'll actually hold it for 5 days. So that means the first snapshot will actually live for 5 days, and then it'll be overwritten by the next snapshot in rotation. Now, take a look. Those 2 consistency groups as well as the 5 volumes will all be applied to this particular policy. Now, if we want to jump to a particular problem, we can actually do that. So as you can see, both of these are hot clickable. And if I click, I'll actually go to those 5 volumes. And here's those issues again, the missing snapshot. I'll expand out and you can actually see that those missing snapshots, and they're automatically selected, and I can actually do something about this. So for example, I'm on the scheduler right now, and you can see that I have 0 snapshots on the right-hand side, but I should have up to 20 saved. So again, there's my name, there's the schedule, and now let's find out why this happened. Now I've already given the answer because I've actually manually deleted them. I've already verified that the snapshot reserve had enough space. So notice the arrows, and I can actually click on either belonging or I can navigate to a particular object. So for example, I've gone back to the pool, and let's actually add a new schedule. So for example, I click on the plus sign, and so now let's actually name it. Now again, I can pick either volumes or consistency groups or both, or one or the other. So for example, I can actually highlight any one of those. And now we'll scroll down and we can actually change the time interval. So I can go daily, I can go weekly, I can even go every other week or every 3rd week or even monthly. There's some other schedule choices as well. Now for this one, if I'm picking monthly, I can actually pick a particular day or for example, a particular last day of the month. Now let's actually change the time. So for example, we'll make this 1 a.m. on the last day of the month. And we'll keep these around for a maximum of 3. So in other words, it automatically calculates out on the right-hand side. So the snapshot will last approximately 90 days because after the first 3 are done, the 4th snapshot will actually overwrite the first one. So that's where we have the 90-day calculation. So now we can actually scroll down and apply. So now I have 2 rules on the same pool. You see the error is still there for the deleted snapshots. And the other one, notice that this one actually has a green checkbox because it hasn't executed yet, but it looks like it'll be okay when it does execute because it hasn't deleted any snapshots yet. And again, if we have any problems, we'll actually raise the alerts both in the tooltip and on the dashboard. So as you can see, we have all the information on this particular screen, but let's actually go to the dashboard so we can see this same information as a tooltip. You'll notice that in the tooltips, I actually have that tooltip we talked about. And there's the information again that we just saw on the more detailed view. And again, as before, if I wanted to click on this, it'll actually jump right to that particular problem and show you that particular issue. As you can see, here we are back with the actual information alert. So if I see that I have the volumes, I can actually then use the tooltip or the action to actually then take a look at the CGs or the volumes missing the snapshots, or remove the snapshot schedule entirely. Now, if I right-click, you can see that I can change or modify the snapshot schedule, add another one, as well as some of the other options we just saw right at the actual actions in the subscreen. Now, if I click right to that particular volume, it'll actually show me the missing snapshot problem and those particular volumes. So let's actually start fresh here. We're going to actually create a new pool here. So I'll give it a particular size. Now remember, if I don't have a snapshot reserve, I can't create snapshots. So that's why you see that I'm adding some snapshot reserve to it. I need to pick a system now. As you see, I can pick an XIV or an A9000 and click Apply. So now I've created a brand new pool here on an XIV this time. Now my pool has been created and it is highlighted, but if I'd like to use my type ahead filter and just focus just on that particular pool, you can see how I can do that. If I expand it out, here's that new pool that I just created, the pool size, and you can actually see some of the other details as well. Now, as this is an XIV, you can actually see that I actually have that snapshot reserved that I'm highlighting right now. So let's create a schedule for this. Again, the dotted line showing that there's nothing right now, but let's change this. Let's click on the plus sign. So we'll call this rule number 1. I'll make it for both volumes and consistency groups. And now I need to pick the actual time interval. I'll select weekly, and let me actually pick some days for it to run on. Because it's Tuesday right now during this demo, it's actually going to work immediately. I just want to make sure that it actually works on the time. So right now it's a little bit before 11:30, so let's make sure my rule takes effect. Now, let's add a retention policy. So it's going to retain 5 of those snapshots, so that way we actually will have a life cycle of 7 days for this particular rule. I click Apply, and now the rule has been accepted. And as you can see, I can actually take a particular volume column and add it into the Hyper-Scale Manager. And as I scroll to the right, you can actually see that I haven't taken any snapshots yet. But there's the rule. Now let's create some volumes inside this pool. Obviously, we can't have snapshots without volumes. So let's name those particular volumes. Now that I have named it, let's give it a quantity and let's see the size. Oh, but 10 volumes at 100 gigabytes each is a little bit too much. So we can adjust down. So 5 at 100 each works just fine. I click Apply and I've created the volumes. So fantastic. Now my scheduler has been updated a little bit. It actually sees that the 5 volumes and it's actually going to run. It's actually calculating out all the particular rules that we just defined. And as you can see down below, again, shows that it's processing. If I click on that particular icon, it's hot clickable. And so you can see how long and how many snapshots. Now, right now, I haven't taken that snapshot yet. It just updated. So 5 snapshots have just been created. And it will actually hold 25 maximum based on that retention policy. We can see this here in the column. Let's go back to this new pool and change the time and see what else we can do with this particular rule. So we can use that hot click right there and jump back. Now if I click on Scheduler, here's that particular rule that we've done. Notice it is a green check. If I want to add another one, how about I add another time here? Now as you'll see, if I put a time, it's going to say, wait a second, that's a little too close to my existing time. So I could do 2 things. I could actually change the original time, so it's an hour later, or I can actually just delete that one, which won't delete the snapshots. So for example, I will set this to a future time. It'll keep the existing snapshots and it'll take an existing and add to those existing snapshots in just a second. So as you can see, we still have those 5 volumes defined. We still have those original snapshots. So those 5 snapshots are there. It's still going to keep a maximum of 25 because we haven't really changed the rule. We just changed the execution time. Now, as you can see, it still says OK. Now, if we wait, it'll actually take the next snapshot based on the rule that we've just updated. The time is about to change, and here we go. You'll see that those snapshots actually are going to be taken. There it is, updated inside the Hyper-Scale Manager. We now have 2 snapshots for each one of those volumes. You can see that it's updated on the inspector to the right-hand side. If I click on one, you'll actually see the details on that particular one. Again, the interval, the rule name, how many snapshots have been taken, and how many snapshots it will save per that volume. And you can see that there's nothing missing. So for example, if I delete the snapshots, or even just part of the actual snapshots, watch what happens here. I can either click on the delete. You'll actually see that we can create that error. Again, let's bring up that delete snapshot so we can actually see this. So it's going to warn you. Again, it's going to allow this, but we're going to warn you that you're part of a policy. So we can delete those snapshots. Now, take a look what happens here. So we go back to the pool now, and you can see that we can actually click on the pool, or we can actually use the type ahead filter and grab it that way. Notice the information alert has just been posted to this particular one with the same error that you saw earlier. Because we deleted some of the snapshots, it's actually going to warn you. And we can also see this in the dashboard. If I go to the scheduler, it'll say that 4 of the volumes are okay, but that other volume that we modified, not okay. And if I want to actually check that one, I can actually click on just that one volume, and it'll actually take me to where it says missing snapshots. And as you can see, it's because I don't have any snapshots, but I'm supposed to have at least 1, if not up to 5. As you can see, we have a great engine now built into the Hyper-Scale Manager so that we can actually schedule alerts in a nice automatic fashion rather than you manually doing it or have to worry on host-based commands or others automation outside the tools. Thanks again for watching this video. Stay tuned for more new features on the Hyper-Scale Manager.